Thank you. All right. Welcome to the Northfield Selectboard meeting for October 18th. We're going to call this meeting to order at 6:01. We have quite a few appointments at 6 and 6:30. We're going to start with the library. Misha, would you like to introduce Ivan?
So this is Ivan Cusack, like Cusack.
Like John Cusack?
Like John Cusack.
Okay.
Usack is good.
Yeah, okay.
I'll settle for Usack.
Okay.
So we're wanting to hire him as a sub. He is very qualified. He's the director of the Warwick Library and has been since 2018. But luckily it's part-time, and so he wants to come work for us too.
Excellent.
Excellent.
You have a really good crew over there.
Yeah.
I mean, some really interesting, deep, you have a deep bench, let's put it that way. Yeah.
Misha Jan's still there, right?
Yeah, she's still there.
Oh, good.
She went on medical leave for a while, but she is back and getting close to her full hours.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Yes.
Does the select board have any questions for Ivan?
Do you live in town, Ivan?
Live in Warwick.
Okay. That's all.
I was really interested in the fact that you have, how did you get into library from environmental?
Completely by accident. Although I've had a love of libraries for a long time. I lived in Petersham, I don't know, 15 odd years ago, and I was a trustee for the library. But in terms of actually being employed and working as a library worker, it came about very serendipitously. I just happened to overhear that the library director of 35 years was retiring, and I thought, gee, that could be a good, fun job. I should apply. And so I applied, and it turned out that it was a good fit with, what the
And
town
now
was
it's your
looking for.
career path.
And now it's my career path.
Excellent. I love it. Any other questions? No? Okay. Can we get a motion to appoint Ivan Usak?
Make a motion to appoint library substitute Ivan Usak, starting immediately at grade 1, step 2 at $15.15 an hour.
Motion and a
Second.
second. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome
Welcome
aboard.
aboard.
Yay.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege. I look forward to working
Oh, we're so
in
excited.
and with Northfield.
Very
Yeah.
impressive.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks,
It gives-
Misha. Good
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah, it
Thanks.
gives us another opportunity. We'd like to have the library come in every now and then, so it gives us a chance to interact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the good work that you do for the
Thanks,
town.
Ivan.
Thanks,
You
Ivan.
too.
See you down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look forward to it.
Or at the library.
We'll see you at the
Right.
library for sure.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a nice night.
Okay, Karen, do you want to come up with Everett and Josh?
Josh is becoming a regular here.
Josh, my
Hey,
God.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
No, it's been all good. Everett, it's nice to have you here. Karen, do you want to just give us a brief description of what's going on? It's kind of a little
Sure, yeah.
Update.
Everett Wickline, former everything at the treatment plant.
Yes.
Throughout the ages. And Josh Neal, who works for the highway department, and he is gonna pick up some part-time hours at the treatment plant. So as you know, back in March, we approved a second full-time position. And we had a few good candidates, but for one reason or another, travel, whatever, family situation, they did not take the job. So we are now looking at getting some help for Isaac. That full-time position is being divided up into part-time relief help. Everett's going to be one of the licensed people coming in and helping us out because he's a good guy. And Josh, bless his heart, wants to come in as an assistant maintenance worker for when Isaac needs snow shovels, the hedges cut back, brush cut back, the general laborer, so that he can get A, some time off, and B, that he can start working on some of these big projects that are screaming down the pike at us. So
excellent.
that's what we're doing. It's not going over budget. We're actually bringing this in right now. We're bringing this in at about 43,000-ish under budget from that.
Great.
So
That's what we were looking for.
Yes, and that was going to
Yeah.
be one of our questions because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
finance committee is always interested in that too.
right.
Excellent. And I'm noting that everyone's from Northfield working in the town of Northfield, so
Yeah.
feels like family, feels like community. Does the select board have any questions for the candidates?
Not me.
I have a question. This is for Everett. What has sparked your interest in wanting to rejoin the wastewater team?
Well, it just sounds like there's a need. And also, the plus is you've actually started working on a collection system, which has been my pet peeve since I've been around, since about 1987 or so. And it's actually starting to happen a little bit. And, you know, Isaac's a good guy, he's a good operator, but we have so many times burnt out operators here.
Yeah.
And are you gonna do it again? And you're gonna be back in the same boat. So just don't let it happen. You know, some people gotta do the right things.
Wait, can you repeat that? I missed that.
Which part?
The collection piece or the Isaac piece?
The Isaac piece.
Well, he's a good operator, and
Yeah.
eventually operators can't do what he's doing. Not for
Oh,
that long.
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, the
Not
number of
correctly.
hours, yeah.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, well, would you want that?
It's
That's
a-
a lot of, it's a tough plant.
Right.
It's very outdated. We have an I&I issue that is extreme, as there's a lot of them in the valley like that.
Okay.
But, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. That plant can definitely burn a hole in your brain.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't know that.
well, it's a tough plant. When it rains here, we get heavy rains here. We deal with something called washout. And it's really not good. I've talked to Dan Kapaska at DEP about the position again, trying to find out where the plan is comparatively to when last I was here. And he says, you know, it looks like things are moving forward, but they've got to continue to move forward. You know, that's pretty easy. So here we go.
So with this plant, Everett, you're comfortable with putting your license on the line?
Well, I mean, we're going to see how it goes. Absolutely. I mean, I think everything seems to be on the up and up right now, and hopefully we're going to go forward.
When I came in March, one of the things that I did, and you picked up on it, was I held up the consent order and I said, some people are afraid of this, and I look at this and go, this is a really good thing, because now we have to do it. This morning
That's a good
started,
approach.
Mary,
Yeah.
with a mechanical failure. And about 8:30 this morning, Isaac was on my phone going, we have a problem. We have a mechanical failure with one of the parts. We do have an extra one, but we're running too close to the edge. So I went down. Tommy went over and helped him out. I went down, I talked to him, we started a process. We've got a meeting on Thursday night just to address this one thing, what we're gonna do. We have 3 option paths. But I mean, that's the type of pressure when something like that happens and he's the only one.
Gosh.
And
Well,
then,
what can we do to help you?
well, we have that.
Right?
Ouch.
Yeah.
We have Josh now that we can give some of the maintenance work to. And I'm looking at reaching out to another municipality that has a lot of operators in hopes that 1 or 2 of them want some extra hours, because we still have it in the budget to cover that.
It's pretty good pay.
Sure.
No? I don't know. What do I know? You know, I'm running ice
No,
cream
you're
shop.
It's a very competitive, so I think what you're about to say is it's a very competitive marketplace.
It's a hugely competitive
And
market.
the certification doesn't come easily, so there's very few people, and it's super competitive. So even like
okay.
with what we think of as fairly high in comparison to other positions, there's just not the labor pool out there
So
for that.
it's really
Yeah,
hard.
actually, Alex knows even more. So sorry.
It's really hard to find talent for Northfield, and what I mean by that is we've had operators and employees for the sewer in the past who have left Northfield for a much high dollar position because bigger municipalities, bigger plants with bigger permits, stuff like this, they're going to pay a lot more
Bigger
for those
budgets.
people. And so it's just like with any other
Yeah.
occupation in Northfield. When we're a smaller municipality, it's hard to find those people that want to settle for less. It's very hard to find them.
Okay.
And we're really lucky to have Isaac down there,
Yeah.
who likes the small town game. He likes being at the plant. And just to speak on behalf of Everett, he was our interim wastewater superintendent during a time where we had a major staffing crisis. He's been an on-call operator many times over the years to be there for the plant in the event that an alarm goes off or something requires a signature or attention or something. In terms of the sewer commission, he's come to various sewer meetings on his own time, not being paid at all, but just to be there because he cares about the plant. He cares about the interest of this business and of this town in regards to staying in permit. And he's not here for the money. I know that because I know Everett. He's here because he
He loves Northfield.
He's here because he cares.
He cares.
He cares.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a very hard job. It's very labor intensive at times, and you have to love this field if you're going to get involved in it, and you have to love what you do. And I think he does, and I think that's one of the big reasons why he's coming back. So it's not just I'm doing. It is. We all know it's nice to make a little extra money, but I think he's doing this for other higher reasons, and we shouldn't turn our back on this one.
Definitely not.
So-
Thank you,
And
Alex.
we've got Josh here that's filling in at all the other tasks around the
Exactly.
area. So thank you, Josh.
So thank
Rounding
you,
out the
Josh.
team.
Can I actually ask you a question?
Yeah,
Are you considering getting licensed?
I think it's on the table. I'm not, committed to it at this point, but
Well, if you are, let me know.
yeah.
We've already been coaching him.
It's on
Coach,
camera.
Anything's on the
No
table.
pressure.
I've coached many for years.
We're
but
live on
it is-
TV.
It's doable. I promise.
No
Yeah.
pressure, Josh. it'll be recorded for
Yeah.
in perpetuity.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But Josh has gone down and helped out Isaac from time to time too, and,
Yeah.
and there's a good fit there, and
Yeah.
Isaac's very happy with him, so we
Excellent.
need to just get this to happen.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Well, that was a nice little update, and thanks for
Thanks,
that
Karen.
perspective, Alex.
Yep.
Okay. I think unless there's any other questions or comments,
Just keep track of the snow blowers.
Oh, is that something?
And gas grills. And, wait a minute, there's something else.
We won't go there.
Oh, I miss it.
Inside joke.
Inside.
Well,
Oh, okay.
Call a vote, B.
All right. Here we go. Can we get a motion to appoint Everett Wickline as part-time operator and Josh Neal as part-time assistant / maintenance to the sewer department?
I'll do Everett. I'll make a motion
Yep.
to
Great.
appoint Everett Wickline as a part-time wastewater operator, starting immediately at grade 7, step 6, at $24.83 an hour.
Motion and a
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Everett. And we need a motion for Josh.
I'll make a motion to appoint Josh Neal as a part-time assistant / maintenance to the sewer department, grade 7, step 6. at
No,
20
he's not actually.
He's not.
I'm sorry. That's a mistake. They got cut out. And there's a reason. That position is a grade 1, step 2 as well, because it's an overtime position with a split wage.
Okay.
So,
We worked that out at
right.
one
Yeah.
point between the highway.
Okay, got it.
because it will be overtime hours, so there's a.
Oh,
probably
okay.
Okay, so Josh Neal will be making a motion to appoint Josh Neal as a part-time assistant / maintenance to the sewer department, grade 1, step 2, per the arrangement of overtime wages.
Right, it's $15.15 an hour for that grade and step, but it ends up.
Being over.
Being over because of the 40
Okay.
Right.
All right, good. Thanks for the clarification. Motion and a
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Everett.
Again.
Thank you, Josh.
Have a good night.
We appreciate you.
Sure, no worries.
Yep.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Keep telling yourself that.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Nice little update there. Dennis! Hello! Come on down. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Hi, Dennis.
You want to tell us about the Rag Shag Parade?
It's on Halloween at 6 o'clock. I guess. Well, we had the chief over, police chief over to our monthly meeting. He was unaware of the details, having this his first one. So we just talked about how it normally goes, and he seemed comfortable with everything. And then he actually mentioned the application process. I was not aware of this new process for events in town. So I soon got an email from Sandra with the attachment, and there wasn't much there that I needed to fill out. I don't believe. I think it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, the VFW sponsors the parade, but we're certainly not profiting from it or anything of that nature. It's just a community event.
And you have parade experience, so, right, with the Memorial Day parade?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's less of a parade
Less of a parade,
than
but
that.
an informal parade,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Questions from the board?
I have a question. Did we do this last, because I know the year before we couldn't do it because of COVID, right?
Yes.
So last year, and could you remind me where it takes place?
It
really?
starts right here out front of the town
Of
hall.
Town Hall
Yep.
and goes,
down to the elementary school.
okay, crosses the street, comes back up?
Yeah, it kind of loops into the way the buses kind of come in.
Yep.
And last year was our first year being outside. The school didn't want us inside. COVID was still kind of a thing.
Okay,
So, but I think we're gonna continue that. We're not asking to go inside. We'll set up a easy up 10 if there's chance for rain or something like that. I
do
mean,
you end it back here?
no.
Or you
It
end it
ends
at
there.
at the school,
Mhm.
and that's where you give out the candy
Exactly.
and have the little end ceremony?
There's no ceremony.
No ceremony?
No.
And then, is it true that I heard that the ragtag parade used to take place inside town hall or on a stage somewhere?
So I'm not sure about the stage, or the town hall. I know when I first started back in the early 2000s, it was at the elementary school in the cafeteria. Kids would kind of come in and parade around, and we give out dollar coins, and kind of as like a prizes, for
Dressing
the
up.
youngsters. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and did you get a good turnout last year, Dennis?
Yeah, I think we had 200 bags of candy, and we had like 3 left.
Wow.
So we're planning for a little bit more this year, just not knowing. But
Well, thanks for keeping up with the tradition.
But there weren't that many people there weren't that many young ones in the parade. We're there for a little bit afterwards, and
Yeah.
people that are trick or treating on Main Street
They came.
stopped by. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
We estimate like 150 in the parade or so.
So is this ragtag parade?
Ragshag.
Ragshag parade only been going on since the 2000s?
No,
Right, it's a historical.
it
kind
started
of
in
North-
1946.
That's what I thought.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so thank you for carrying on the tradition. Very appreciative of that.
Yes, thank you.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Excellent. I think you really, anything else from the rest of the select board? Are we expecting to waive the fee given the?
Yes.
Okay.
It's checked in here.
Okay.
Do we need to motion the waive the fee?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
well, we need to motion to approve and waive.
Yeah,
Right. Would you like to do that, Bernie?
sure. I make a motion to approve the special event application for Dennis Brennan, the Bernardston-Northfield VFW for the Rag Shag Parade, also waiving the permit fee.
Second.
Great. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
you,
coming
guys.
in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's always nice to see you,
Yep,
hear about what's going on. Okay. Oh, and I'll sign this.
got the energy. That's good.
Yeah, thank goodness.
May I see those binders, please?
Folders.
Is there a Sullivan
Heavy
here?
matter.
There is.
I'm a Sullivan. Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, I just had 12 of them here in town.
Ugh.
Oh
From
my
LA and
goodness.
Toronto. Bunch of Sullivans roaming around north.
Better than my family, bunch of llamas.
Llamas.
Yeah, we
There's
kinda
a lot of
heard.
llamas.
We kind of heard.
Ark, ark. Okay. All right, so we're gonna have Mallory at 6:30. Let's do warrants. Starting with the payroll warrant from October 19th, 2022.
Motion to approve the October 19th, 2022 payroll warrant of $78,159.83.
Second?
Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, how about the?
May I make the motion?
Yes, you may.
All right.
Go right ahead.
I make a motion to approve the vendor warrant for $213,893.58. Transfer station trucking fees, health insurance, emergency services facility, Sewer line rehabilitation project, $81,600. Lightning strike expenses, fire alarm, phones, generator repair, BNCTV equipment.
Just make sure you say the date on that too.
And the date is October the 19th, 2022. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Any discussion first of all on the?
It's a big number, a lot of projects.
A lot going on.
Yeah. But,
And the lightning strike expenses, is that the, what's the term? We're not actually paying, the insurance is paid for them, but do we
Right,
have some
but we
sort
have
of
to pay some of the
deductible?
bills and then we get the insurance.
Oh,
so
gotcha, okay,
Some of them are,
So those will be-
Right.
That's right.
okay, good, I just
But
want to
some of the
clarify
things we
that.
have to
Don't you have a
pay.
deductible as well?
Yes, but only $1,000.
Great, okay, any other questions or discussion? Thanks for pointing that out, Alex. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to the minutes real quick. Just gotta find it. I didn't see any corrections. Did anyone else have any comments or corrections? Okay, can we get a motion to approve the minutes from October 4th, 2022 then?
So moved.
Excellent, second, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Real quick, let's move on to meetings and events attended by select board members. Bernie?
Okay, well, we had that interim meeting yesterday, I'll just mention that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had for the
I'm moving too
EMS
quickly.
building.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, so we had that meeting, and I also had a Friends of the Northfield Seniors meeting. And I think that's it. No, yeah, that's it.
You sure?
I'm sure.
You guys have had a lot going on.
Yeah, but
In a good way, I mean, yeah. Mary, did you have any meetings?
I did not. I've been waiting anxiously for the Frata meeting, but it's been postponed till mid-November, or
Franklin Regional Transit Authority.
you know what I'm doing.
FRTA.
Does that involve Maureen? Mullaney?
No,
Oh,
that's not
that's
the
different.
FERCog, that is the Franklin Regional Transit.
Oh, that's
That
right,
is the
sorry,
buses.
okay.
I am on their board, and we haven't had a meeting in quite some time, but I look forward to the November one. And then, because I've been absent for the last 2 select board meetings, I spent a couple of days reviewing, watching the meetings, and getting up to date on what I missed. And it was very informative, and it was kind of fun watching it from outside the box.
Like a spectator?
Yeah, you guys look good on camera, I have to say. I have to say,
Thank you.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Heath, do you have anything?
No, just a meeting that we went to yesterday.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and that too.
Yes, and the meeting from yesterday on the Emergency Services Public Forum. I also had an ARPA meeting. I'm going to work backwards. An ARPA meeting. Let's see, I went to the Emergency Services Building Committee meeting last week. FERCog had a Finance Committee meeting that I went to, and then I sat in on the School Committee executive session for union negotiations. And also First Light stakeholder negotiation meeting, as well as preparation. Okay, so it was a busy 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was.
Alex?
I think I had something, I just can't think of it, so I don't know what it was.
Parent-teacher meeting, maybe?
No, I'm too young for that.
Yeah, your schedule's only going to get busier, huh? Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah, right, the baby's too young.
Town administrators update. Do you want to start on how long, or shall we do that afterwards? How long do you?
I've got
How
a
much do
few
you
things,
have?
but
Oh, let's bring
get
her
through in
up.
5 minutes.
let's bring her up and
Yeah, you can do that.
close.
Okay. Excellent. Mallory, would you like to come up?
I'd love to.
Excellent. Thanks for coming.
Thank you
This is so exciting. This is the highlight of the meeting. So,
I'm honored.
oh my God, we're honored. Andrea, do you want to introduce?
Sure. So just to give a little background in case people aren't quite remembering how we got here, the Select Board talked about it, the ARPA committee proposed it, and then the Select Board approved it. The idea of a grant coordinator, grant director, coordinator. I don't know what are we officially now? We are the name changed several times, so that's why I have sometimes a little confusion with it. But it is the grant development coordinator, and the position is intended to work with myself and hopefully the Select Board too, a lot of Select Board priorities, and we'll meet with other departments and committees in going forward, looking at grant opportunities and development opportunities for the town. It is fully funded through our ARPA grant for the next 3 years. Certainly, no one's surprise, I'm hoping it rolls into something that people really see as valuable, and we think Mallory will be a huge success, and that people will consider this role as something, maybe it'll change, maybe it'll morph, maybe we'll learn that it should be something different than it is, but we really have high hopes that it's going to help boost a lot of things in town, our departments, maybe some of our businesses, some of our development. I think coming out of COVID, going into COVID, I think there were a lot of things starting to happen. COVID kind of put the brakes for a lot of communities, but coming out, I think there's even more starting to happen. And so I think it's a perfect opportunity for someone with Mallory's skill set to really step in and make a significant contribution. And so we interviewed Mallory, it's a few weeks back now, and I think Bernie, you were on the
Screening and the hiring
committee, and then you were on Alex was on the hiring committee. So I recall it was a unanimous decision to have Mallory be our candidate. So we're bringing her here to meet you tonight.
Is the position a full-time position?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a full-time benefited position.
Benefited. Mm-hmm.
Bernie, do you want to talk about the screening and just give us a recap on the screening and the hiring process?
Well, we all the questions we asked, and Mallory just, answered them, right up front, honestly, and all that. And if you look at her resume, I mean, it's pretty impressive. Before we even got to the interviews, I looked at her resume and said, wow, she's done a lot. She can do a lot for this town. I think people are going to be happy. And, I'm really happy that, that she accepted the position. And that's it.
I think it's a huge step forward for Northfield.
Oh, yeah.
And so as a Select Board, we met last winter, it was like January, February, to go through our priorities, and economic development has been a huge priority. So this is kind of like the crown jewel. To get to this point, it's the crown jewel in that set of priorities. So we're really looking forward to what you're going to bring and what's going to happen.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. But we're really excited.
The future of Northfield Rise, I don't even know. No.
Alex, do you have anything that you want to add?
I've always looked at as grant writing as an art, and it's one of those arts you have to really work at over time to develop and to get to a good level to where you can start applying yourself to municipalities. So all the power to people who want to get involved in it, because I don't really know how to ask for money. Aside from, my parents and stuff when I was a kid. But tell me about what your favorite class was in graduate school and why.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
There were a lot of good ones, but I think my very favorite class was called Public Communications. And it was somewhat of a case study model where we learned, how to write an effective public press release, as if we were in a municipal government or the state or a nonprofit, and then all the other components of using social media effectively. But probably the best part was learning about crisis communications. It was something I kind of thought about press releases and communications as maybe the fluffier side or the, sharing the good news, but what do you do in a situation where it's news that impacts people maybe in a not so positive way? I I think the really practical side of that appealed to me. And I just learned a lot from my classmates, and I think I learned some. I still prefer maybe the fluffier side or the lighthearted communications that you get to share, but it was a great practical class.
Do you feel your experiences in the MPA program have made you a better thinker, writer, and speaker?
I think so. I think that it's very analytical focused, and then all my classmates, not all of them, but probably about 80% of them were working while in grad school, like myself. So just learning about what they did in certain situations and kind of having those as, again, the real life case studies, thinking through problems, how they reacted to those, what maybe they would have done differently, was really helpful. And I think it helped me on all those fronts, writing, thinking, speaking.
So you're coming from Arlington, and we are a nice little tiny town many miles away. How did you discover us, and why are you choosing this place to start a career in?
Well, I found out about the position through the Mass Municipal Association website, and I was glad you had posted it there. But I have always loved this part of the state ever since I was a kid, growing up in central Connecticut, and then as a teenager and in college, and as an adult, I've made trips out here, up and down 91. Not so much to Northfield. Coming out here for interviews was my first real time spending time in the town, but in Deerfield and Shelburne, Amherst, Northampton. So I've just always loved this part of the state, and as I thought about where I want to kind of put some more deeper roots down, it's this area is very, very high on the list, and so finding an opportunity that aligns with that aspect of the right location, and also a great opportunity to grow professionally and to use my economic development and grants writing and municipal background, it just seems like a really almost too perfect alignment. So I was glad to find out about it.
And lastly, where do you see this position going, and do you see it evolving into something bigger at some point?
Well, through my interviews, I definitely learned that the economic development focus is a really high priority here, and I'm excited to kind of build upon the foundation that's here and also help current business owners, volunteers, residents, and prospective business owners to kind of illuminate the assets, the strong foundation that already exists here, and to figure out how we can build upon that and bring more folks in a way that aligns with the community's desires and what residents and all of you see as the priorities for the town. I know Andrea has mentioned this role potentially morphing in some way, and I think that certainly aligns with my interest in terms of someday maybe working in a town management position. So that is something that appeals to me. I mentioned the communications part. That is, if that's an area that there's interest in expanding upon, that is something that I've always loved in all the jobs I've had. Again, writing the press releases and engaging the public a lot. So while maybe that was an implicit part of the job, working with the community and different members, that's I think something I see as an important role, and something I would like to bring to this role.
Where's the office going to be?
Actually, the office is down with Aaron,
Oh, downstairs.
because the accountant he works remotely.
Okay.
So we have a full space there.
Wonderful.
There's already a laptop sitting there. We're all set
Ready to
with her
go.
email and phone extension, and we're good to go. I mean, this role we envision will be a lot out in the community. There may be times that she's working remotely. That's why we decided to go with a laptop.
Right.
And certainly initially to start, because she has to transition to moving out here. So it was understandable that it will take some time. She's certainly going to come, at some times and obviously meet with people and do some things. But, there will be some work remotely, as there is with a lot of grant work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but we did definitely wanted to create a specific office space that had, files and cabinets and desks and things, because you do need to have, something here that you can, so you're not carrying everything in a bag.
A home base.
An
office.
So it was important that we identified that space. Erin works part-time, 20 hours a week. So she's in and out of that space. So it's really a pretty quiet, private space in a lot of ways for its own office. So.
And lastly, B,
Yes.
are you prepared to accept the duties and responsibilities associated with economic development for Northfield?
Yes.
Okay, I'm all set.
Okay, great. Keith, did you have any questions or comments?
I mean, I joke saying the future of Northfield's in the hands of this, but in all reality,
We have
but in all reality, no, I mean, this is an area that Northfield's desperately in need of developing, you know, and it's something that's, you know, it requires so much work that it's really beyond the capacity that Andrea can dedicate energy to, and it's beyond what any of us have. So really, this is a huge opportunity for this town to fill in a void that I really do feel is critical to its growth. Like, Northfield's a great community the way that it is. It's just to make it just a little bit more of that shining jewel in Western Massachusetts, to just go, oh, we don't want it to be this huge metropolis, but it needs a little bit more. And it's just, that's the area of town where we really are lacking. So, you know, there's a lot of potential for what this position can do over the next 3 years. So we're really excited to see what can come out of this, just because it's what Northfield really needs. So we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to explore the different ecotourism opportunities and Main Street development. So thank you.
Oh, excellent. Can you talk, I just noticed, I had two questions. One was, I noticed you work for Lexington, so the historical aspect, so I'm also on the historical commission. But one of the things that's been mentioned in many of the reports and different applications that have been put together for Northfield is on recreational tourism and the overlap with the history of the area. So I'm especially interested in what you could bring from your experience in Lexington as well into a town like Northfield. You know, just Lexington, of course, is always thought about, but Northfield was one of the first towns we were on the frontier of the Massachusetts colony. So, and we still have a lot of open space. So one of the interests on the Historical Commission is on the preservation of landscapes, not necessarily just buildings. And oftentimes, especially a community like Lexington, the focus is on the buildings. And in Northfield, we certainly have a really nice array of different buildings from different eras, I should say. But there's also a focus on the landscape and the open space and what that meaning is to, like, the King Philip's War, for example. So I'm really interested in what you think you can put into with the economic development, where the overlap is with recreation and history.
Sure. I really love historic interpretation and also like parks kind of programming. I have a little bit of a background in that as well.
Oh, great.
So I think there are a few different ways. Of course, Lexington is a pretty different community, but I manage tour guides there. And put together something I was proud of in that time was working to further develop the kind of corporate charter tour program. So maybe that specific model might not be ideal here, but I think that there are definitely opportunities to develop, for example, like a self-guided tour opportunity where we either paper-based or online, highlighting the story and really telling a story that has somewhat of a continuous thread so that visitors can understand it. Of course, there are already, especially historic assets, and the landscape, it's here. It just needs, the dots need to be connected for people.
Exactly.
So something else in Lexington that I did was represented the town at the a convention and visitors bureau convention where representatives from different tour companies as well as just individuals, families would come through and figure out where they wanted to go. So there's a whole section just for New England and a lot of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont communities that were represented individually and also as a region. And I think that that's an opportunity to highlight. Some folks might not know Northfield is here, might not think to, they might be familiar with some of the larger communities. So I think that also in that way, partnering, I know that Northfield is part of regional groups and figuring out how we can collaborate with some neighbors and highlight the kind of all the different, the historic component, the opportunity for outdoor recreation, hiking, the breweries, the restaurants. There are a lot of kind of different ways to appeal to different groups. So I think putting that together in a cohesive way where it's a somewhat of a choose your own adventure, while also highlighting what makes Northfield special, not just we've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we
getting
have all
some
of that here.
getting some synergy among the different. I mean, obviously, people have, you know, if for example the breweries, that might just be like that's all I'm interested in. But for other people, it's the overlap of there's breweries and wineries and history and recreation, right? And a lot of the history and recreation, the trails, for example, actually overlap because you're literally traveling through a historic site.
Mm-hmm.
The other question I had for you is, I used to live in Arlington a long time ago.
Wow.
And I was thinking last night, because Arlington is a really large town, Northfield's a small town. It's actually a pretty good sized town for this area. And I was trying to think of like what could possibly be the overlap between, or the analogs between Arlington and Northfield. And it occurred to me, because I lived in close to the Winchester and Lexington line, and it occurred to me that my memory of Arlington is very much north-south, where there were pockets of businesses at different points along that stretch. I forget what the main street is called when you...
Mass Ave.
Yeah, so Mass Ave, exactly. So in your experience with Arlington, I guess I was just struck by that overlap because Northfield is very much a north-south type of orientation. We've got a pocket of recreation up at the top. We've got Main Street with businesses, and then we have the breweries and wineries located in different parts further south from us. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you in terms of, I know there's little pockets like that in a larger town on this north-south axis that make it, I think, a little bit more challenging from an economic development standpoint.
I agree. I think, again, like the connectivity, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that specific kind of geographical connection or similarity between the two.
Yeah.
But I think that I would agree it is structured somewhat similarly, and I think that the connectivity between those different locations is it is a challenge, and it's something to think about as we're developing a more focused economic development plan, what that means for areas that we're focusing on, how if they need to be connected better, if it doesn't matter so much. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, you know what grad school taught me? Don't
What?
ever work for a select board. They can be vicious people.
Oh my God.
That's my job. I have to work for you. Thanks. That really inspires something.
May I make a statement?
Yes, you may.
Hope it's
Mary.
better than the last one.
I just want to say that my husband and I own a small business in town.
Good point.
And the revitalization of downtown is very near and dear to my heart. So I hope you won't mind if I come in with suggestions, or not suggestions, but questions, and I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Experience.
You know,
Well, you have
of what-
experience.
it's kind of like what I want to see. My
vision.
dream,
Your
visually,
vision.
of and
Put
how
on the
to
creamy.
actually make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Right, and I'm just not being very
popular.
clear on
She
how.
needs people like you in this job, so it's going to be good for you.
Well, yeah, there's business.
Okay.
There are business
Right.
owners in town, and then there are business leaders, and the business leaders are the ones that want to lead Northfield, while the business owners, unfortunately, sometimes just want to make money and they don't really care as much.
Status quo.
Not us.
And yeah,
Right.
so
Or
Mary
they're-
is a business leader.
Or they're
so.
busy.
There be some connections that can
Yeah.
be made. We just haven't had that linkage, and
Right.
that's where Marilyn
Yes,
is
there's a
Yeah.
disconnect.
making those
Yeah.
connections.
And if we bring that together,
I
the
think people-
revitalization of downtown could.
The other thing I'm very optimistic about, and may be very helpful to Mallory, and I hope will be, is that the towns surrounding us have also started to get this connection. So Irving hired someone in
Yes.
planning. She's now
Oh.
not only planning, she's assisting Brian over there as the sort of an assistant town administrator. So she's doing
She got
planning.
promoted.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that's morphing in that, and then in Montague,
Walter.
Walter Ramsey
Yeah.
was the planner. He was hired directly into the planning department. He has now moved into the,
Yeah.
they've created an assistant town administrator role, moved him in there, and they've hired a new planner.
I read
So
that.
the towns around are starting to see the value of this type of role. Not just a planning role, like bring someone in who works with the planning board, because there's parts of that, you know, you're gonna do planning, but it's more than that. They see the value of expanding that into what are those plans gonna look like? How do we, you know, get into the larger sense of planning?
Right.
So even in this area where there's some small towns, Montague being bigger, Irving being smaller, we fall kind of in between those two.
Right.
Yeah.
They're also moving in this direction. So you actually have some peers very close to you. So I
Very
think they've-
talented peers too,
Oh,
I
yeah.
might add.
Mariah,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that her name? She's just
Mariah.
gotten
She's,
rave reviews. So
Yeah.
there's some real peers
And
that I think
Walter,
will
yeah.
be really interesting, and so you won't feel maybe that you're out there on your own so much, but that might be also real resources for each other to come up
Absolutely.
with some
Oh, yes.
really good
Yeah.
ideas.
That's a
I'm
very
very
good
excited
point.
about your position with us. You know,
So
Yes.
yay.
Okay. All right. How about a motion then?
Motion to appoint Mallory Sullivan as the Grant Development Director.
Coordinator.
Says
What's that?
director.
What is
Oh.
the
Grant
what is the formal title?
Director Coordinator.
it is
Develop-
actually Grant Development Director.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I've been using.
Starting November 20th,
Notes he's going to refer to. So
2022,
Mhm.
at $70,000. There's no grade and step associated with this position at this time. Term subject to a written agreement.
we have a written agreement that we have come to terms with. That just was too much to put in your motion.
Okay.
But there is a written agreement, and
Anything else?
it all falls within the allocated funding. So I just wanted to know.
Anything else for the sake of the motion?
I think that that's fine, because I'm
Okay.
going to attach this to her letter, her appointment letter, and she has a copy of it, so
Sounds good.
unless you guys
second
want to
that.
know anything else.
Thank you, Bernie.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome
There it is.
aboard.
There
Yay!
it is.
I
we'll
did
be
see you in a
excited
few.
to
Where,
hear
where,
it.
are
We
you
need, like,
still living
balloons
in
and-
Medford?
I am, yes.
And will you be going back and forth, commuting?
For now, until
She
we
can
relocate.
relocate. She's going to look to
Who is
relocate.
this nice gentleman in the back?
Very good looking.
Ryan.
Ryan,
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
You come with the package?
yeah, part of the deal.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Good. What are you going to bring to the table?
Married.
Also sustainability input.
Sustainability? Brilliant. Love it.
Nice.
Okay, well, welcome. Welcome to
MVP grants, here
Northfield.
we come.
You're in the right area. Okay. Very
Yes, you're
good.
definitely in the right area for sustainability.
Welcome to town, Mallory.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so
We'll be in
much.
So
touch.
excited to work
Get
with
you
you
your
and
letter,
get to know
but-
you all
Yeah,
even better.
me too.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Okay.
Have a good night, Brian.
Lots of reports to send her way.
She's going to be very popular.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Go celebrate.
Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
That was great.
Town
Yeah, nice
not
welcome.
the chair, I'm sorry.
You look my
You got to move things along.
Too excited.
You're next. You're next.
No,
It's going
actually,
around.
it'd be-
I wanted to make sure that Mallory felt the love of
I
the
think she
select
did.
board. So I think that
We're so
mission
sweet.
accomplished.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely agree.
But back on to the.
But hopefully you'll understand, the rest of you hadn't met her before, why we feel
Oh, for
pretty
sure.
confident about
Yeah.
Great
She's got-
qualification.
I'm blown
Yeah,
away.
well done.
Really,
well done
Well,
vetting.
you would have really, the other applicant, the other one that we
It
interviewed,
was tough.
I mean,
We liked her too.
really, I really liked her, and
Yeah,
it came down to Mallory's resume.
Yeah.
Mallory.
Just being
I think we-
Mallory being just a little stronger there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were both, I'd be happy
Neck and
with
neck.
either
I
one.
was-
A tough place to be in, but what a good place to be in.
It
Like,
was-
we
Yeah.
were-
it was probably-
we
We
were
like
in the
that.
police chief situation. It
Yeah,
was
we
like,
like
Probably
that.
one of the
They choose.
toughest I've ever been in. They had different personalities, they had different approaches, but I think we would have really
Slightly
done
different
well with either.
experiences,
But
yeah.
it was a very difficult decision. We kind of
You
You were there
guys,
for a while, yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
we were lucky.
But
We had
awesome.
great
Yeah.
applicants. We really did.
Outstanding.
My God, her background and her poise in a public meeting. I mean, this is great.
So
Very
Any-
exciting.
Yes. Okay, town administrators update. Yay.
okay, so I'm going to pass this around for everybody. This is the town budget calendar, the final one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you all have a copy to see where we start.
I got an extra one.
For the process starting in November, so I wanted everyone to have a copy soon. I did include the select board meeting on the 15th because it will be joint with the finance committee, and not so much, there is a discussion of the school, it's now going to be in there, but also I'm hoping to have the auditor, he's going to get back to me, he's checking his schedule right now, so that you'll get actually presented the audit, the town audit for the first time. We've had audits, but I think it's the first time the auditor will be present. So as soon as he has the final...
For a joint meeting especially,
with the finance committee. So he has the town's responses. They usually send us a management letter. We send our responses. So once he has that incorporated and he sends the final document, I'll get that out to all of you so you'll be able to review it for that meeting.
Great.
And be prepared for that meeting with any questions you have.
So just noting that Tuesday, November 15th is when we do the joint meeting with finance.
Correct.
And the school committee.
And then the auditor.
Oh,
then the auditor will come.
Quiet, Siri.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking
So
about.
that joint meeting and the kickoff of the budget cycle, the budget year, was part of our priorities as well. So I'm just making a note of that for you
Right.
guys.
Just a quick update on the town hall lightning strike. I finally believe we're done.
Done.
They have finished the fire alarm system. At least it has stopped beeping every day, so we're really hopeful. Someone was here pretty much all day yesterday. I think that it was doing the final testing of all the different alarms.
Great.
So all the invoices are been sent to the insurance company, except the fire alarm because they were here yesterday. And so to date, we are at $26,254.25. And then we'll have the fire alarm invoices, which is going to be a good chunk of change. They were here a lot. They did a lot of work. That fire alarm was definitely probably the worst mess up, plus the phone system that actually got nailed. So hopefully we're over that finally. It only took 6 weeks or whatever, but
It was a long time.
it was a long time. Just so everybody knows that the final printing, which is the codification project of the town's bylaws, should be to us by around November 2nd.
Cool.
Turns out after we had the town meeting in January, there was a notification process that had to go not so much to the residents, but to surrounding towns. So it's a mailing that was supposed to go out, and although we submitted everything to the Attorney General's office for approval, they sat on it long enough for us to call them up and go, what's happening? Why are we not approved? And they said, oh, you didn't give us a date when you did this mailing. So the mailing has gone out, and we're hoping around the 2nd. That was the last thing. It's a technicality. You notify the abutting communities and the Regional Housing Authority that you've passed some new bylaws, whether they're relevant to them or not.
Oh, interesting.
It's in the law. So that's out, and as soon as that's done, we can hand that notification to the codification people, and they will actually release our code. They're waiting to make sure that what they've incorporated, because we asked them to incorporate the new bylaws, are actually legitimately bylaws before they give them to us, because they'll be on the hook, I suppose, if we put them up and it turns out they're not. So hopefully those will be to us in short order, and those will be put on the website and in all the offices, and so that whole project, so it'll make it a searchable document going forward.
Thank God.
And we can increase it. I'd like to eventually get the select board policies, of which I have a book like this, sorted out with you guys and reviewed with you guys, and then we can add that to the code. So it's a document we can continue to grow, but hopefully it'll be released and available soon. We just have to wait for that final okay from the AG's office.
So if somebody's searching on the word noise, for example, then
it is
will
online. It is
easily come up.
It is on the January special town meeting.
Yeah.
As part of our website, so it is there. But it didn't make sense to retype the bylaws to put it in when the whole codification piece is doing that.
Yeah.
So it is available on the website, and it is in effect. As soon as it's passed, it's in effect unless the AG strikes it down. So it is in effect. The same with the animal control bylaw.
Okay.
On October 6th, speaking of grants, I worked with Misha at the library and our IT vendor, and we applied for a community compact grant for just under $11,000 to improve and upgrade the IT at the library. So keep your fingers crossed on that one. And then yesterday, I applied for the risk management grant through Maya, our insurance company, for about $4,400 to put up barriers along the walls of the compactors at our transfer station. It's improved safety for residents and the workers to have a like guardrail there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So those 2 grants are in, and hopefully we'll hear back positively on them.
Excellent.
Water district update. Last week, as of last week, the bill was in the House Committee on Steering Policy and Scheduling. So we're just awaiting further news. It has already passed the Senate.
I think they actually went into general session yesterday.
So I'm hoping it will emerge and get in there short order. The commissioners are meeting, and I've been involved in a couple different meetings, but they're also meeting amongst themselves to start organizing and prepare to act as a commission, because once that passes, then
That's
the
it.
commission starts to be a thing. I know that they have reached out, because I got a CC on it, to legal, since we gave them some funding to get some advice on how to structure and things they need to put in place, because I think they're going to have to do bylaws and those sorts of things going forward once they're a district. So they're starting their process to get themselves organized while they're also talking with the water company and DEP is the next phase going forward. So we've been working on that.
Great.
And
That's
lots
it?
of work on the emergency services facility presentation,
Yes,
which will be up tomorrow. We'll have the slides up tomorrow.
with a few corrections as.
I already made those corrections.
Oh, good,
I made it
thanks.
at the meeting, actually. Just
we
one.
we keep picking, every time Skip speaks, there's like a new little detail, like, oh, that could go in
Yeah,
the
we keep adding.
timeline.
It'll
Literally,
be
we
about
were
50 slides if we were.
Just on that subject, great job to everybody involved in that slide and the presentation, and everything.
Yes.
We had somebody literally mention at that meeting last night that they, I would quite say in opposition of it, but to that extent in opposition, and now is in favor because of the input, the changes, and everything that's gone on. So I think that's just a collaborative effort of everybody involved, and that presentation last night was awesome. So just everything that's been spun into that project, from the videos to the matrix of the timelines, just everybody's suggestions along the way to make this project get on the priority list and get everybody involved with it. I think I was just kind of blown away last night. I wish there was more people there, but
Yeah.
Well, when we put it
was
on
getting-
the website, we'll put a link to the various pieces. We already had something on there that was linking to the video, but we'll make a page that links to various things for people so that they can get
Get
the
up to
matrix,
speed.
get the slideshow, hopefully get to watch the presentation, get to watch the video, and we'll try to make something that people can actually catch up on all of it if they've missed anything.
I was already receiving emails and texts this morning about people who've watched the video. And I know Tyler was pointing out that he's been moving to using YouTube Live, so had linked the Facebook page for BNC TV to YouTube last night. But he's going to put together the files, and we'll have a complete recording of last night's meeting available for folks. So, but yeah, that PowerPoint was that was a lot of fun. Good support from, I have to say, good support from the committee, as well as the architect and the project manager. We've really had very solid support. Okay, how about ARPA requests? Let's do those, and then the rest are pretty brief.
So we had 3 ARPA requests
right.
that the committee spoke to. The first was the police and fire repeaters. I think you guys kind of knew those were coming. We've been talking about these repeaters for a while. The bulk of it is to put 4 repeaters in the police cruisers. That's about $57,000. And the repeaters will amplify the radio signal in areas that have either poor coverage now or improve the signal inside buildings where signal just can't penetrate, especially like the schools where there's more block construction. So police could be in there for an emergency. They can't use their radio, which is really counterproductive to being a police officer in a school in an emergency if you can't use your radio. So that's one of the things. And then about $2,200 is a shortfall that the fire department needs for 3 vehicles that they were previously funded for. So that total request is for $59,812.59.
How much money do we have left?
Well, I'll give you the whole update. The second one, it's really actually, wait a minute, that's the wrong one.
Do you want
Sorry,
a
I'll give
motion
you the
on
right
that
one.
before we move to the second one?
It's the one in yellow right now. It's up to you how you want to do it.
I think we should, and,
one at a time,
Yep.
because then we're literally voting on each request and we're documenting that as well. I don't have the amount in front of me for that
Oh, okay.
motion
It's 59, 8, 12, 59.
total.
Yes.
59, 8, 12, 59.
Receivers.
Okay, so can we get a motion to approve the
Repeater.
ARPA request for police and fire repeaters in the amount of $59,812.59?
So moved.
Excellent. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you. Next
So
one?
the second request is for, to upgrade the body camera system and to purchase warranties, which do not seem to be in place for the system now that they are in use.
Oh, right.
Warranties kind of make some sense.
Oh, yes.
They don't come with a warranty?
Well,
Probably a 1 year.
I'm not sure they were purchased, or they also hadn't been implemented from the year, so
Yeah,
it's
they were
probably
bought and then sat around.
so that we want to extend that.
Yeah, yeah.
But the
Warranty
the
important.
upgrades that they want to do is that the software that was purchased previously was a sort of lower tier software, and the storage system for the video itself becomes the issue. The
It's like non-existent.
well, the
if I
video
remember
cameras
correctly.
the videos can't be saved by case. They can only be looked up by date. So if you want to find something on a date, you have to look at the whole day and find it. And if there's 2 officers on, you've got it. So that's very cumbersome. It's very time consuming. And the other thing that's interesting is they can't download them into a file that can easily be sent electronically. So if they're sending them to other law enforcement or, whatever request they've had that they're honoring, they have to put them on a thumb drive,
Right.
which is, first of all, lengthy to download to, and second of all, costs, $10 to $20 every time you want to put one of these on a thumb drive, and then they're physically giving them out. So the new software would allow them to save by case number, so they could match the case number for the files that they can computerize, and would allow them to download these files to a
Cloud.
it allows them to download it to a file that they could send, for example, to, law enforcement or lawyer or
The district attorney or
district
something.
attorney's office.
What
Yeah.
computer system do they have that's big enough to hold a file like that?
Well, they actually have separate storage drives.
Okay.
I think they have terabyte drives that have been purchased.
Okay.
It becomes an issue. Storage will become
Yeah.
an issue. But I think they have in their policy at some point they can eliminate after so many days when there's no, so they're not going to just keep all interactions when there's nothing.
Depends on the type of incident it
Correct.
is.
Then they
and
keep
traffic
them
stops and
longer or
everything, yeah.
indefinitely.
They all have
Right.
different time frames you have to keep
Right.
the info on.
That's in the
Yeah,
policy.
So
I think that's a no-brainer.
I'll make a motion to approve ARPA funding for police body camera upgrades in the amount of $3,475.
Motion NA,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And lastly, we approved from the committee $12,278 for recreation program director's wages. And I'll explain kind of what we're doing here. The funds would be used to supplement the town's appropriation from last May. And we had a big run through this with the
Oh, do you want me to?
finance committee, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
did go to the finance committee originally as a reserve fund request. For a number of reasons got kicked back, which you can go into in a minute. But
Yep.
I want to explain to people why this request is coming. I mean, after 2 years of COVID, it's become apparent that there are way more demands and interest by the residents for recreational opportunities. So there's programming activities, including advertising, registration, scheduling, equipment, and T-shirts for youth sports, t-ball, baseball, softball, adult pickup sport nights. If you notice, the sign-outs now has another adult pickup advertisement going on
Yeah.
just recently for soccer, I believe. It
Yeah.
was softball for a while. They're also started the Pilates program at NES. So this is all organized by the rec director. Then there's organizational activities, including refreshing. She organized rototilling the whole NES ball field because it hadn't been used for a while and needed a refresher. Getting baseball dugouts painted, new benches purchased at the ball field, new benches made for the youth soccer. Groundskeeping and scheduling at NES now is coordinated through the rec director to make sure that they know not to come when there's a game, those kinds of things. She's been doing website updates, equipment inventory and updating the Facebook page, worked on a new design for the rec logo. Oh, I was going to bring that if you want to see it. It's
Oh, yeah,
great.
it's great.
It's in my office.
Yeah.
Working on setting up new recreation software for sign up and payments for activities. social media and programming, promotional work for upcoming events, and feedback for new programming. She incorporates that for people when people have new ideas. Created a yearly calendar for rec, worked with the rec commission to find out and recruit new members and get the rec commission up and running. There were some vacancies and she really worked hard to get that committee up and running, and there's a lot of energy coming out of that committee.
That's a great group.
She's been working and planning on starting possible summer recreational options for next year, since the person who was doing it before isn't returning. We've already started talking about what that might look like, and that's going to take some work over the winter. My working with her to see if we can start getting together some ideas about a summer programming. Projects that she's worked on, possible teen night. They did pool access for residents during summer 2022 this year. Creamy coupons for the end of the season baseball players. I think she worked on that. Connections with the senior center she has started making. Updated recreational forms, the sign-ups, the waivers, adult and kids, because they have adult programming now. And she's monitoring and responding to all contacts and questions from parents and participants from Facebook and the website. So that budget was for 19 hours a month.
Wow.
And she's working closer to 19 hours a week
No
on
kidding.
this project. So the commission's asking to increase the budget to pay for the hours that she's actually spending doing. And in May, they are going to ask the town to increase this going forward next year, so the voters will get to say, hey, we like what's going on, let's increase this budget. So we looked at what was budgeted and voted and what we would need to get through at 19 hours a week, so not a benefit, just to get through till June. So that comes to $12,278 as a request, and the ARPA committee thought that post-COVID, this was a great project to be bringing these things back. And seeing that result. There's been a lot going. The weight room's going to open in November again, so they'll be staffing that. She was just in today doing getting timesheets set, and we've been working on that job description because it was kind of in two places. So I do need a volunteer here to do the classification on that. If anybody's interested in being part of the classification, in that job description to get that position back in and running. So she's really doing a lot of work to get the rec programming solidified, organized, and set. So there's no way that you could do that in less than 20 hours a month.
No, and I think where we netted out with the finance committee was that the summer program, which has to, the planning for which has to start now, the person who ran that wasn't an employee per se, it was a service that the rec commission had contracted. So in effect, the RecCom director is picking up all of those hours that normally would have been a service provided to the town and is incorporating it into the RecCom.
Right, that person was paid through the fees involved in it. We don't have any of that to get that
It's
program
almost like it's a
launched.
little enterprise type
Exactly.
It was
So
like a
now that that
subcontract.
doesn't exist, the
Right.
director's picking it up, and that's where the need for the additional money is coming from. And if we don't do that with the ARPA at this point, then there won't be a summer program
Right,
because
we
they need to
can't
do all the
wait.
planning now.
Can't wait till the end of the year. Can't wait till May to start June
thing.
programming.
No. And that's a huge thing for residents. I had so many people
Right.
reach out last year because they just didn't know what they were going to do with their kids and everything else. So
Yeah.
I know that not having that last year was an impact to families. Not just last year, last couple of years.
Yes.
That is a big impact to families that rely on their kids either being in school or being at the rec program.
So the finance committee, even though they didn't approve the transfer of the reserve fund, they did vote, they took an official vote to support the recommendation to the select board of using ARPA funds for this. So just FYI, we appreciate that. Okay, so can we get a motion to, what was the total dollar amount on that?
Motion to approve
You got
ARPA
it?
funding for the recreation director wages in the amount of $12,278.
Second.
Excellent, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
She had the cheat sheet.
Yes.
Money well spent.
Thank you to the RecCom
Oh,
for,
yes,
wow,
thank you.
Doing amazing stuff.
I guess.
Yeah, and I do have an update. You can pass it around if you want. It isn't all expended, so anything unexpended will come back. But even to date, on all the estimated stuff that is approved, and there's more things in the pipeline potentially, and some of these things are estimated, so they may not actually expend, including the wastewater thing I'm going to be bringing back to you. I put in
Oh,
that calculation. the town is still sitting on $300,000 in ARPA funding. So I have reached out to several of the departments too. I think we're going to see some departmental requests.
Like
so that
the sidewalk snow blower.
well, that we've got a grant for $40,000. So,
Spending date on that is 27.
we have to obligate everything by the end of next year, 2023,
Okay.
December 2023. It doesn't have to all be spent, but it all has to
You
be
have to allocate.
obligated on something really. Although, from what I'm understanding,
time.
because we took the one-time option, there is actually a mechanism by which you can, June 30th of next year, you can close this out to free cap, to general fund.
Oh, okay.
So we have an option either way.
Right, so anything that doesn't get expended, I will probably be recommending that, because that way you don't end up with money so it still stays within the town to obligate forward through the certification of free cash in other ways. We don't want to lose any of it as potential expenditure.
And we have another ARPA meeting coming up, so we may have additional
Right, there's at
requests
least a
coming
couple
at the
things.
next select board meeting. Okay. Was that it for tonight, though?
That's it for tonight, just those three.
Excellent. Okay.
For ARPA.
Great. All right. I know the RecCom is going to be thrilled. Okay. We need to sign the November 8th election warrant. We need a motion to sign that or no?
Yes.
We do need a motion. Okay. So can we get a motion to approve signing the November 8th election warrant?
So moved.
Excellent. And a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we're going to sign.
Bunch of signatures.
Bunch of signatures, plenty of room. Okay, and then I need a motion to, just the chair will be signing the parade route letter to MassDOT for the 350th. Can I get a motion to approve the signing of the parade route letter to MassDOT on behalf of the 350th?
So moved.
Excellent. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then we'll talk about the meeting schedule.
Right, so looked at the calendar a little bit and saw that technically you'd have 3 meetings in November because it starts on the 1st, which seems like going into the holiday season is a lot of meeting time, and yet you like to have some time off maybe around the holidays. So I looked at the schedule with Sandra, talked a little bit with Bea, and thought to bring you a suggestion that you could decide on. If you decide to do the November 1st and 15th meetings as regularly planned, then to not hold the meeting on the 29th, which would be just around Thanksgiving time, but for just the month of January, December,
November?
that would be November 29th, you would not have a meeting. You'd go the 1st, the 15th, and then for the month of December, just shift your meetings for 1 month to the 6th and the 20th, and then not meet again till January 10th.
Like that idea.
That's cool.
I thought that would go over.
It gives you a good period of time between Thanksgiving and the holidays to have a little break. Obviously, if there's an
Fine.
emergency, we would call a meeting.
We'll just have to come in to sign the warrants.
Yes, that month in December, we will ask you to come in and sign the warrants because you will be off the schedule. But then the idea is to go back on the schedule on the 10th of January.
Excellent.
So that you'll be back
What
on
were
the
those
warrants.
dates again? Just
So the 1st and 15th of November.
Yep.
Then it would be the 6th and 20th of December. And then you would start back on the regular cycle of the 10th and the 24th in January, and you'd be back on your regular warrant cycle.
Oh,
Jan 10th and
you.
24th.
Yeah.
Correct. And then you'd be right back on the cycle again. So this gives you kind of a little break right around the holidays. And again, if we needed to call a meeting because something had to be signed, or we could call a short meeting to conduct some business.
great.
And will you be emailing us those dates?
Yeah, if you guys agree to it, we'll definitely.
If we agree to it?
Yep, yep.
Any discussion on the dates, or does that all sound good?
Sounds fine. I'm okay
I
with
think
it.
we
Bea?
could use a little buffer around the holidays. I know I
Things tend
could.
to be slow at that time because people are in and out of their offices and they take a lot of vacation. So if you're going to take a break, it's a nice time for you to have the time off. It's also a time when things are generally moving pretty slowly. So we don't generally see a whole lot of activity happening.
Well,
Even
we're
if I'm
getting
sending
ready.
things out, I'm often waiting for people,
Yeah. We're getting ready for January and the budget stuff, so.
Right.
Okay. I don't think we need a motion on that as long as everybody's cool. Okay, we're good. No topics reasonably anticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance. No citizen concerns that I can see. No citizens. Correspondence, none. Committee board appointments, none. Proposed agenda items.
I have one.
Okay.
Just the talk on the rec commission made me want to get an answer to this question because it came up in the last budget cycle. Would you be able to do a little research, Andrea, so we can discuss it at the next meeting as to what does the PBRS budget that allocates grounds work or something to that effect at the elementary school, what is exactly is that paying for if our rec commission has to do a significant portion of work to maintain those grounds and we're also paying to have it mowed? What does that big chunk of money, I think it's $10,000, that's in their budget to cover the grounds work, what is that doing?
Yeah, and I can do that because we've actually been working on this for some time already and working out what we do versus what they do.
Yeah.
And we do the playing fields. I'll let you know that's a big chunk of what we do. They don't do the playing field. So a big chunk of the money that you're seeing for grounds work for the rec has to do with the playing fields.
Like baseball, dirt?
That's all ours to mow it. They don't own the fields. They don't control the fields. Those are actually the recs to maintain. But we do have some information, some agreements about some other things, and I can bring that back to you.
Okay.
All right.
Great, good one.
And then they're coming on the 15th anyway, so we can, if we need to expand more on that, we can. Anything else? If not, I have plenty of stuff that I will be, that we've already, actually,
I've already
Andrea and
got
I,
lists.
yeah.
Here's agenda items for the next.
That's
all
how
the
we
way through
came up with
December
the dates,
20th.
and we started slotting some of the things that need to be done before the end of the year. And Sandra reminded us that we'll have to redo licenses and that sort of
Right.
thing at the end of the year. So that's
Liquor
what we're going to use
licenses
December
and
for.
Business licenses,
Yep.
reappointments come in December.
I'll mention one more actually. I don't know if it's premature because we just did the hiring in the last meeting, but where are we with the SRO process? I'd really like to have someone in that school now that we have some.
Well, they'll be coming November 15th, so.
Yes. And
Good
I
opportunity
indicated
to-
that because of the budget, it's also a budget item,
Yeah.
that would be coming up as a question.
The children need to feel safe, and I wouldn't feel safe in a school
Such a
without an
priority.
officer. Yeah.
It's such a priority.
Yeah, it's.
But
You
am
have
I
an
mistaken in that the new police officer that we hired, I was absent for the meeting,
Yeah.
the hiring, but I did watch it.
Yeah, good.
Am I mistaken that his role will not be
Well, the
as an
process.
SRO at all?
That.
No, the process is,
Not necessarily. He's not hired as the SRO.
he has to be hired as a police officer first, and then they do what's called a transfer request.
Lateral transfer.
Lateral
If-
transfer
If
is
and
the
when that
next
becomes
step.
appropriate.
And is that something that that particular police officer wants?
Yes, he was interested.
That was discussed
Okay.
with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the school committee has to put together their parameters in that before, he has no job description right now
Right.
for that. So he has to have that in front of him. I wouldn't say yes blindly unless, especially after what we went through before.
I know.
Well, that's why it's a separate step.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
and we spelled that out
Yeah.
in multiple different ways, verbally and in writing,
Yeah.
with everyone involved.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? If not, announcements, clean sweep, bulky waste recycling day, Saturday, October 22nd, 9 a.m. to noon. at
Okay,
the
what is this again? Because I like this.
Bulky waste.
Yep, October
Recycling.
22nd, right?
Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon at the Northfield Highway Garage.
I think you have to pre-register though, don't you?
Yep.
No
Well-
pre-registration necessary.
Oh, not for that
Oh.
one. Oh, it's not the,
It's
not
not
the solid.
It's not
Not
the
the green-
hazardous
the
waste.
hazardous waste.
Yeah,
Right.
no, this is
So it's
bulky.
bulky, it's on November 22nd?
October 22nd,
Okay.
9 a.m. to noon at the Highway Garage on Caldwell Road near the transfer station. And for more info and pricing, look to
pricing.
franklincountywaste.org. So Franklin County Waste District is all one word, .org.
And be prepared to wait in a long line because it gets busy. So
Yes,
get,
it does.
Get there
Yeah.
early.
So it's things like tires, televisions, computers, scrap metal, refrigerators and freezers as long as you take the doors off, clean dried bagged textiles and books, electronics, microwaves, barbecue grill tanks, construction and demolition debris, furniture, mattresses, those are always hard to get rid of, and carpeting.
Yeah.
Just so people know, the law's changing on mattresses. At the end of this month, there's
No.
going to be a whole new process to dispose of mattresses.
Okay.
So if,
Did you say
if they've
there's
been
a
sitting
fee
around and
attached?
you want to get rid of them, this is your opportunity.
There is a disposal charge on most items, cash only. Items will be recycled wherever possible. No pre-registration necessary, but for more info and pricing, franklincountywastedistrict.org or 413-772-2438.
Okay. And do you mind if I take a picture of that, Bea?
Nope.
Okay.
You guys put it on the website,
We
didn't
will,
you?
yes.
Okay, and then the fees are attached, so there's a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okie dokie. Any recognition for service?
You kind of already discussed it, but I was going to recognize the chiefs and the committee for their work, especially the chiefs who were there last night to speak on as part of the forum. All three chiefs did speak at various points.
Mm-hmm.
It was really helpful, and the members, a number of the members were present, and so there was a lot of work done. Having attended almost all of those meetings, I know how far they've come in the last 3 years that I've been here.
Yeah, me too.
And then I have two. I would like to recognize the highway department for all the work they've been doing on the roads in Northfield. It's probably a never-ending job, but I have heard from citizens compliments that potholes have been filled in. They're getting ready for winter, but they're just constantly working and working hard. And so I wanted to give a shout out to the highway department. They're appreciated by the town folk
And by their select board.
and by the
Yes.
select board. Thank you, Alex.
And FYI, Mr. Walker is going to be coming one of our meetings. He's going to be scheduled for an update, so
Oh,
we can
good.
talk to him at length about projects.
That's
and
good.
Tentatively
Yep.
December 6th.
And then I have
Yes.
just one more, and I
Yep.
I know this, it's not a conflict of interest, but I'd like to give a recognition to Tim Bowen, the owner of the Northfield Creamy, for being consistent and bringing the Summer of Sweets and building on the historical building, keeping the Creamy a place where memories are continue to be made. And it's a hard 6-month job for him, but his passion to see happy, smiling customers, spreading joy and giving back to Northfield is a priority of his. So I wanted to just send an appreciation to him. I mean, I know I'm his sidekick, I'm his wingman, but that man works really hard to keep that little place jamming and loving through the summer. So huge love to Tim Bowen and the Northfield Creamy.
Yeah, and he has that beautiful energy that just draws everybody
I know.
in. So,
I know.
as a matter of fact, Heath and I were talking last night. We couldn't get into the last night that you guys were open because it was so packed. Darn it.
I
Anyhow.
said I would have helped out if you just paid me a nice.
I know. It's next year, note to self. Alan, let's get the select board in there.
There you go.
Right.
Then, yeah. You can get like an answer and your
Yeah.
ice cream, right?
Exactly. That's what we'll do our Ask a Select Board member.
Just don't talk with your mouth full.
Yeah, right.
The ask of the select board member, chocolate chip.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Excellent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Ask the select board member.